is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are sports. We are Sun.
Alex Colomé has been a bright spot for Tampa Bay in 2016. Perfect, 19 of 19 in save opportunities, earning his first All-Star berth. Tonight, Alex and the Rays face the Angels All-Star as Mike Trout returns to the lineup for Los Angeles. Tonight, the Rays' longest homestand of the year continues at Tropicana Field. This will be game number 10 of 11. An afternoon game tomorrow will wrap it up. But before all of that, tonight in game 3, the Rays meet the Los Angeles Angels. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. Well, the Rays are going for the next 2 wins, trying to win the series from this Los Angeles Angels ball club, currently even at a game apiece after last night's loss. You know, the Rays, with the All-Star announcements for the 7th consecutive year, send a pitcher to the American League All-Star game. This time it's Alex Colomé.
And very deserving. And Alex Colomé, what can you say about his season? 31 2/3 innings, 39 strikeouts, and the fact that he is perfect in save opportunities, 19 out of 19. But what's maybe even more impressive than that is the fact that he has not given up a run in his 19 opportunities. He's given up just 10 hits, and he brings a starter's arsenal to the mound as a closer, and he's not afraid to use all 3, sometimes 4 pitches, a tremendous fastball, the slider, the changeup, the occasional curveball. Colomé has been outstanding. And what can you say about Mike Trout? For the 5th time, he's going to the All-Star game. His .324 average is 5th in the American League. He's got an on-base percentage of .426. That is good for 2nd in all of Major League Baseball, only behind David Ortiz, to go around with good power and production numbers. 17 home runs and 54 driven in by the Angel center fielder.
5th time in his career, 4th time as a starter. The Rays would like to send one more rep. That would be Evan Longoria. The vote is on, and they're marshaling as much support as they can garner from all corners. Tom Callis has more on that.
On a Wednesday night for the Angels at Tropicana Field, Rays and the Angels playing Game 3 of this 4-game series. This is the shirt the Rays players wore during their batting practice today. That's right, they're trying to get the vote out for Longoria as the final vote candidate this year for the American League All-Star team. There are 2 ways you can vote. You can either go online at MLB.com and also RaysBaseball.com/vote. There you see the 5 candidates. The final voting will take place at 4 o'clock on Friday, July 8th. You can also text 89269, the word vote. You'll get a ballot with the American League candidates, and then Longo's number is A2-89269. Here's Evan Longoria about going for the final vote as he appreciates the region as well as the support of the Rays fans.
This has been my home for 8 years, 9 years now, and the people here have been nothing short of family for me. So it's pretty cool to see them behind me and doing as much as they can to push the word out and be supportive. So. Like I said, 8 years ago, it was a different feeling, not knowing what the process was like, and being a rookie, not knowing really what to expect. Now it's cool to be a little bit more engaged in it and have the organization be a part of it as well.
Longoria won the vote in 2008, and guess what? More social media. We can tweet questions to Dwayne and BA at Fox Sports Rays. Use the hashtag AskRays or email your questions to foxsportsun@gmail.com. Final Web Wednesday until the All-Star break as we get you ready for baseball. The Rays and the Angels. It will be Drew Smiley on the mound for Tampa Bay. He'll be opposed by Jared Weaver for the Los Angeles Angels. We'll have all the action next on Fox Sports Sun.
Tonight's Wednesday Showdown, brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. Rays and the Angels go at it tonight at Tropicana Field, and Drew Smiley heads to the mound, making his 17th start. First outing against the Angels this year, as the Rays look to take this one gain an advantage in this 4-game series. Starting lineups presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Yunel Escobar again leads it off, followed by Cole Calhoun and Mike Trout. Albert Pujols, C.J. Cron, and Jeffrey Marte down the middle. Johnny Giavotella hits 7th. Jet Bandy, the catcher, hits 8th. And Simmons, Andrelton Simmons, the shortstop, hits 9th.
Well, and for Drew Smyly, looking to get back into the win column. He has not visited that since May the 16th against the Toronto Blue Jays. He picked up his last win.
First pitch of this game upstairs. A fastball from Smyly, so we are underway.
Good cut. Good cut.
Escobar fouls it back. Well, the Angels come in 34-50. The Rays are 34-49. And you look up and down this lineup, these hitters are hot for Mike Scioscia. A number of them carry hitting streaks into this game. Ground ball to third. Longoria is right there and makes the play right across the diamond to Morrison, and that retires Escobar.
Well, let's go ahead and look at that Rays defense for you. Set it up, see where they're going to be tonight. Brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. It looks like this: Corey Dickerson, Brandon Geyer, and Steven Souza Jr. left to right in the outfield. And then across that infield, third to first, Longoria, Miller, Nick Franklin gets the start at second base, and Logan Morrison with Kurt Casale behind the plate.
Well, Escobar, starting the game with a 10-game hitting streak, is retired. Cole Calhoun fouls that fastball straight back out of play. Strike one to Calhoun. He was on a couple times last night with a base hit and a walk. He scored in the 9th inning when the Angels distanced themselves from the Rays. Strike two. Smyly out in front. It's a ball, 2 strikes.
You know, it's important for every pitcher to pitch out in front, to try to get ahead. It's going to help you in trying to put a hitter away. But for Drew Smyly, even more so at times because of the way he gets outs. I mean, he can go up above the zone, down below the zone. It gives him a lot of room to work with.
And a base hit, shot past Franklin into right. Calhoun is aboard.
You know, they had Nick Franklin not pulled over into the hole between first and second, but he definitely shading that way. And Cole Calhoun, see where he's at. There's a lot of room when you start looking about up the middle. And Cole Calhoun gets on top of this fastball and hits it hard enough that he gets it by the diving Franklin.
One on with one out, and here's Mike Trout, who was not in the starting lineup last night, but did enter the game as a pinch runner and eventually scored a run. Lifts a high fly ball back into right center. Souza Jr. makes the catch. Towering fly ball that way, not all that deep. And that's out number 2.
And you will take that because Mike Trout, another one of those hitters that is absolutely scorching hot for the Angels. And that was a fastball that was right out over the plate, about thigh high.
Number 5, Albert Pujols.
Well, here's Albert Pujols, our Toyota Keys to Success featured hitter, with an 11-game streak, hitting .354 in that stretch. And he waited until the 9th to extend that last night with a base hit.
We just keep talking about hot Angel hitters. We haven't even gotten to Giavotella. We'll talk about him being hot.
Yep, C.J. Cron.
Simmons.
Yep, he's at the very bottom of the order. How are these guys 34 and 50?
Honestly, that's the thing. You start looking at their offensive numbers individually over the past couple of weeks, and you say to yourself, how did they come into this series having lost 11 out of 13, now 12 out of their last 15? They probably start to look
at the pitching end of things and check out what that ERA has been.
That has been an issue. 1-1 the count on Pujols. Well, the last 15 games, this is how it has broken out. And the pitching, both the bullpen and the starters, and they tend to go together. If your starters don't give you innings, and that's been an issue for the Angels. Down to third, Longoria will take this one to first. Pujols is out of there. No runs, a hit, my man left. Bottom of the first coming up. No score. Rays coming in to hit. Let's take a look at the lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Logan Forsythe to lead it off. He is the DH tonight. Brad Miller short, then Evan Longoria third. Morrison hits cleanup at first. Brandon Geyers in center. Steven Suja Jr. in right. Corey Dickerson will hit seventh in front of Nick Franklin, who's at second. Kurt Casale does the catching and bats ninth.
Well, on the mound tonight for the Los Angeles Angels is the crafty righty Jared Weaver, making his 17th start of the season, a 6-7 record, ERA just over 5.5. The Rays saw him earlier this season. That was on May the 7th. He went 6 innings, gave up 6 hits, 2 runs, just 1 earned, didn't walk anybody, and 5 strikeouts and a no decision.
First pitch is a ball inside. Sharply hit, but foul, and it's 1-1. Logan 4 out of 13 in his prior matchups against Weaver. Two balls and a strike.
Well, and for Jared Weaver, the stuff not the same as it once was. It is all about messing with a hitter's timing and nothing straight. Very rarely will you see him throw a pitch that's straight.
High fly ball back into left. Marte already back to the track and waiting. Makes the catch. And Forsythe is out number 1.
Now let's take a look at that Angel defense and see how it's going to line up tonight. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. And in the outfield, left to right, we've got Jeffrey Marte, Mike Trout, and Cole Calhoun. Across the infield, third to first, Yunel Escobar, Andrelton Simmons, Johnny Giavotella, and C.J. Cron with Jet Bandy behind the plate. Glad we got him back in there.
Yeah, he could be your favorite player just because of his name.
You know, I mean, how many Jets do you meet? And a Jet with 2 T's, Jet Bandy.
I want to know the count to Brad Miller. Yeah, he could be a lot of things. A baseball player, a country singer. 1-1.
A pilot.
Absolutely. A character in a novel. Brad Miller takes a strike, 1-2. Miller up here. He's been a power hitter lately. 12 home runs.
You know, he's hit 7 in his last 22 ball games. You take that kind of rate.
That's 2-2. Yeah, he's trying to even things out with Weaver. He's just 3 for 22 against Weaver in his career. Meeting a lot of times with Seattle and the Angels playing, and Miller is out on strikes. Pitch breaking down and in. First strikeout for Weaver.
Yeah, that's that slider. You know, Jared Weaver will give you a little bit of deception with the delivery. Get on the side of the baseball. Look how much ground it covers. It's not very hard, but it covers a lot of ground, and it's hard for these left-handed hitters to stay off of that pitch, and Brad Miller just a little bit too far.
Well, here's Evan Longoria. Pops it up. Foul ball straight back, and that's out of play. 11 in the voting. Among the final 5 trying to get to the All-Star game. Another foul. It's 0-2. Well, you can vote for Evan. Go to RaysBaseball.com, cast your vote. Send Evan Longoria to the All-Star game. The voting ends at 4 p.m. Eastern Time Friday. And that's a situation where you can vote early and vote often, so keep voting. You know, Michael Saunders with the Blue Jays is among the 5, and so what you're really doing is competing against all of Canada for those votes. There's a liner into left and a base hit. Longoria is aboard. 2-out single, Evan with a base hit his first time up.
Did not hit that ball hard, but didn't need to. Just well placed by Evan. See if this ball gets off the end of the bat. Another pitch with movement, and that's it. Right off the end of the bat. You know, there was a couple other swings where Evan was having a hard time staying back on Jared Weaver because the stump, the velocity is just not there. But he placed that well and keeps this inning alive.
Evan at first. Here's Logan Morrison. Morrison 10 home runs now, hitting .237. It's a strike on the inside part of the plate. Weaver lost his last outing. That was Wednesday against Houston. 6-7 on the year. 1-1.
He's given up at least 4 earned runs in 4 of his last 5 starts, in 9 of his 16 total starts. And there's that line you're talking about. Didn't help himself with the 4 walks.
It's a hot shot foul. 1-2. Yeah, the walk, something that normally is not a major issue for Weaver. Walked 26 in just under 95 innings. 2-2. They're going to average a little better than 5.5. You break it down road and home. It's over 6 at home and a little under 5 on the road. Foul ball out of play. Back into the stands.
Both of these pitchers here tonight have been hurt by the long ball. In fact, both of them, their home run rate is the highest of their career. Jared Weaver's given up 20 home runs. Drew Smyly 19.
Yeah, they're not exactly ground ball pitchers either.
No.
They'll give up a lot of fly balls, and with that, some of the home runs. Popped up. Simmons, the shortstop, couple of steps into the outfield. No runs to hit. The Rays leave one. We're headed into the second. No score. Baseball on Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Dodge. Visit your local Dodge dealer today. By Furman, the Bay Area's first name in Chevrolet. By your local Toyota dealers, let's go places. And by Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. When cancer strikes, strike back with CyberKnife. C.J. Cron, the leadoff hitter in the second inning. The big first baseman, that fastball, 89 miles per hour. Tonight's Buick GMC big matchup. Another hot hitter. You can see what Cron has been doing on this road trip. He had a big day in Boston and that 21-2 Angel win over the Red Sox.
You know, and I contend that in this lineup, you know, C.J. Cron making a name for himself, but not a big name guy. And you start focusing on Trout and Pujols, and this guy sneaks up on you. And you let that happen. We've already seen. You go out to center field here, you poked it pretty good. And he got 2 of them out there in last night's game. So you've got to be careful and make pitches to this guy.
Ooh, a big cut right there on the fastball. Well, here's the first one last night in the second inning. And the 3-run shot in the 9th.
Yeah, that's big time power here at Tropicana Field, and he does have that power that plays to all parts of the ballpark.
Pops it up this time down to first, and that is out number 1. Cron out of there to start the second. Jeffrey Marte.
Number 19, Jeffrey Marte.
Marte homered in the first game of this series on Monday. Rays won that one 4-2 before dropping last night's game. There's a strike. The Smiley breaking ball. Two. Smiley looking for his first win at home. He's 0-5 here at the Trop this year. 4.5 earned run average. 2-4 on the road, and his ERA on the road is over 6. So it's been a tough run for Drew Smiley.
It really has. And you think about the work that he did for the Rays coming over at the trade deadline of 2014. Injured, missed a lot of time last year.
A little popper foul ball, and Logan Morrison makes a fine sliding catch. Great effort there by Morrison to retire Marte.
Well, that is playing hard right there. That is playing very, very hard. And Logan Morrison gets a great jump, all-out effort, and backhands that ball before sliding to the turf. What a play.
Well, a dandy play indeed. Acknowledged by Smiley. That's good to see. 2 gone, and here's Johnny Giavotella. Pitch is down. 1 ball, no strikes. In fact, both these pitchers tonight, Smiley and Weaver, show their emotions out there at times. And when things don't go well behind them, you can figure that out. Fly ball into right. Souza Jr. is there and makes the catch. So 1-2-3. Go the Angels. No score.
Scoreless, Steven Souza Jr. will bat second in this inning. Last night, he addressed why he was taken out of the game.
I took for granted a routine play, and I basically wore a triple for it. And yeah, I got to third, but I could have easily scored if I was running hard. So it's a bit embarrassing. It's not how this team runs. It's not how we want our identity to be, and I'm not proud of it. When you get down to it, I just wasn't running hard. If you go watch the video, I'm not even at first base yet, and that's just not in my DNA. That's not how I want to play this game. That's not how I want to be known, how to play this game. And like I said, I took one play off, and I got exposed.
That was a question on our Web Wednesday tonight from Kelly on Twitter. Kevin Cash said he was really pleased the way Steven Souza handled it. He said he's a guy that hustles all the time. That was a rare moment. The follow-up question to Kevin was, Are we now past that situation? Kevin said we were past it as soon as it happened. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you. Breaking ball here to Geyer. The count is 1-1. Well, that's the idea, to play hard all the time, and as we know, it doesn't always happen. And the positive side of that was to see the reaction by Steven Souza Jr. Geyer out at first, Simmons to Crone, and so that's one away. Souza Jr. will be up here. He's willing to accept the responsibility, and I think that's the real key to those situations, because managers, coaches, fans, everybody across the board will tell you the one thing that bothers them the most is lack of effort.
Lack of effort, lack of accountability.
Yep.
I will say this in defense of Steven Souza Jr. If you named off the top 3 or 4 guys on this team, as far as the guys that play hard night in and night out, play in and play out, he'd make that list.
Yes, he would.
A mistake last night, but this guy plays the game as hard as anybody else on this team. So there you go.
Yep. I don't think there's any question about that. 1-1.
In fact, at times you can make the case he plays too hard.
Yes,
because
you
he'll
could.
border on reckless going after ball. Last night, running into the wall in center field.
Yep.
Going over the low wall a couple of nights ago. I mean,
he hurt himself. The hip injury was extraordinary effort.
Yeah.
That's the way he plays.
Yep. And he could have had the approach of, are you kidding me? I mean, I go hard 100 times and the one time I don't, but he didn't.
Yep.
And that's where that accountability comes in, and that's
you
why
like
you root
that.
for a guy like this.
Absolutely. You really like that. And we've commented about this club overall in general. Out of the batter's box, these guys have busted down that first baseline almost all the time.
You make routine ground balls close, and put the pressure on the defense to where if there's any sort of a bobble, any little bit of hesitation, they're going to beat it.
Two popped up right side, foul. Crone's after it. The first baseman makes that grab. 2 up, 2 down in the second inning.
Left fielder, number 10, Corey Dickerson.
Corey Dickerson's on his way to the plate. So Dickerson with 13 home runs, 35 runs batted in. One ball, no strikes. Two and 0. Dickerson over the last 11 games kind of quietly has put together a nice little move. He's hitting .351, 13 out of 37. 4 of those hits, extra base hits. One of them a home run, and he's ahead in the count, 3-0. Two outs, bases empty. Weaver throws him a strike. Nick Franklin on deck. That slow breaking ball that you'll see every once in a while. And Dickerson fouled it off. That one was under 70 miles per hour.
Well, what I saw that you'll see a whole lot more often than that is the thumb guard. We need to get Corey Dickerson a thumb guard that stays attached to that batting glove, because he takes a big swing almost every time, and that thumb guard goes shooting off that thumb almost every time.
And he draws the walk. Weaver thought he had a strike there at the bottom of the zone. And so Dickerson heads to first, and that brings up Nick Franklin. Our Lowe's home field advantage spotlight shining on Nick Franklin on this homestand. A .360 average with 11 runs batted in. Franklin, those 11 runs batted in, most by a Ray during a homestand since back in 2010.
And you know what I attribute it to, really?
And what would that be?
His walk-up song. How do you
that,
not go to the plate ready to rake with that song beating in the background?
Inspired by the music.
Yeah. It's translating.
Takes this one upstairs. 1-1. Well, how about this? The 11 runs batted in for Franklin on this homestand equals his career totals for the Rays. 11 runs batted in 61 games, and he's done it on this homestand.
It's a funny game. A funny game.
It's fouled out of play. 1-2.
Well, he's another guy that's getting an extended opportunity. You know, because of the injury issues that the Rays have had, and a lot of those guys are getting close, you know, to coming back here in the next few weeks. But he's gotten an opportunity to get some, you know, regular playing time, and he is cashing in.
So he's behind in the count right now. And they're cutting just a little piece of that one foul.
What did that catch Ben May right in the chin? Some guys rattled around right here. Oh boy, yeah, forehead to chin.
2 for 1. You got the top Bandy, and then you got the plate umpire Ben May. So it's still a 1-2 count on Franklin. May, one of the younger umpires in the American League, just 34. Racine, Wisconsin. That pitch is high. 2-2. Made his debut in April of 2014. A 2-2 count. Close inside. The count is full.
And I guarantee you, Jared Weaver is like, okay, if the fastball that I threw to Corey Dickerson was down, then how is this up? And if that's the case, what shoebox do you want me to hit? I mean, that's up. The pitch to Dickerson is down. Didn't give me a whole lot of room to work with.
Yeah, another call or two like that, and we'll see Weaver a little more animated. 3-2, runner goes, cut and a miss. Franklin strikes out, and the Rays leave a man. We go to the third, no score. From Tropicana Field, the Angels will have their catcher Jet Bandy to lead it off. And Simmons, and back to the top of the lineup, Escobar. We got our first look at Jet Bandy here on Monday. Going to walk and a double in that game. Catcher out of the University of Arizona. 1-0 the count. It's chopped foul. Andy, 25 years old. You could say that in the spring of 15 he really put himself on the radar screen with a hot bat in the spring. There's a little popper into short right. That falls in between Franklin and Souza Jr. Bandy is aboard with a blue pit to right.
Yeah, how he was able to squeeze that in between Nick Franklin and Souza Jr. Just an inside out little jam shot. And that ball just perfectly placed. Nick Franklin going for over the shoulder catch as Souza Jr. comes in. That ball finds turf.
So Bandy's aboard. And here's Simmons. Simmons has hits in 11 of his last 12 games. Strike the count. Down to third. That's a foul ball. Longoria ready to start a potential double play. But Ed Hickok's on that call. Foul.
Yeah, that would have been close. Simmons gets down the line pretty well, but Evan Longoria was right on top of that chopper and got that ball to Nick Franklin in a heartbeat. His defense has just been absolutely impeccable this season, making all the plays, showing range for a third baseman, and that's not easy to do.
Yep, accuracy as he always is with his throwing. Into the dirt, blocked nicely by Casale. So it's a 1-2 count.
That breaking ball was just yanked right into the ground. No real discernible spin on that pitch.
It's been an issue for Smiley.
Yep. Yep. Well, that's where those are the types of pitches where you start to see the curveball and the changeup become one. They look the same. You really got to almost, take it down to an isolated shot to see the grip to be able to tell the difference. Now, right there, was that a curveball or changeup? I mean, you guess.
Yeah,
You guess. Same action, about the same speed, and you're not really sure. Let's take a look. Well, it's the curveball.
Yep. Popper again to short right. Little jam shot there, and he has a base hit. Bandy advances to second. Simmons is aboard.
Yeah, that'll drive you nuts. You get down to the bottom of the order. You as a pitcher, what are you looking for? Miss the barrel. I want poor contact. You pitch to poor contact, and it is poor contact. And these balls find holes. You get in on a guy, you jam him. He's not even sure where the ball went after he makes contact, and then this happens. 2 hitters in a row. One bad enough, but 2 in a row.
And now you go to the top of the order where you really have some hot hitters, including Escobar, comes in with a 10-game hitting streak.
Yeah, this is where maybe you take that extra little bit to walk around the mound, clear the mind, and get back up there, because you're going to have to start making pitches right now and can't afford to be frustrated, like I'm sure you are. I'm sure that he is.
There's a strike. Escobar grounded out to third his first time. And Smiley would love a ground ball like that right here. 1-1. With men in scoring position, Escobar at 377. Ground ball, that's going to go through into left. Charged by Dickerson. Bandy's going to stop. Dickerson got there as quickly as he could in short left. And the catcher, Bandy, held at third to load the bases.
That didn't look right off the bat. You know, Evan Longoria peeled off immediately and was heading to third base. You know, I think almost assuming that Brad Miller was a little further in the hole, like he was going to be able to have Brad field that ball and feed him to get the lead runner at third base. And instead, it sneaks its way into left field. And now you've got 3 poorly hit baseballs have led to 3 singles and the bases loaded with nobody out.
Cole Calhoun. 2 hits and a run batted in last night. And a cut and a miss on a breaking ball. So a tough spot for Smiley. Into the dirt, and another stop for Kurt Casale.
I'm going to tell you what, that's where it gets above the protective cup, and that's a tough shot to take.
There's a total agreement.
Yeah, lower ab hurts.
Now it's 2-1. Calhoun laying off that pitch. Is down for ball 3. Well, back to the wall here. 3-1 with the bases loaded and nobody out.
Yeah, bad count to the number 2 hitter. That man on deck. Pujols behind him.
Ground ball foul behind Gary DiSarcina, the first base coach.
We got a good Gary DiSarcina story for you when things calm down.
Okay.
You'll like it.
We'll go back to it.
Yep.
So full count on the Angels right fielder. Three singles, not hit that sharply, have loaded the bases. Tough spot, frustrating spot. Smiley taking a little time, and Calhoun steps back to take some time himself. All the way out, the count full. And ball 4 will force home a run. Bandy crosses the plate. And the Angels score first. The bases remain loaded with nobody out.
Number 27, Mike Trout.
And Mike Trout is about to step in.
That was a really good take by Calhoun, because that ball stayed in the strike zone for quite a while.
A .409 career average with the bases loaded and 4 slams. So the walk to Calhoun, Trout up here, who holds behind him. And there's a strike at the bottom of the zone.
Well documented, Mike Trout likes the ball down and out over the plate. Likes to extend, the hands start high, down and through the baseball is what he's looking to do. You see the Rays attack him a lot, especially when they get ahead. If they get ahead, those up in the zone heaters.
Because Sally's going to talk it over with Smiley here.
Cannot get on the same page right now.
Yeah, and you'd better be with this guy at the plate.
You better believe it. These are big, big pitches to a dangerous hitter.
Trout headed to the All-Star game for the 5th year, 4th time as a starter. Inside, it's 1-1. Sally active behind the plate to get out in front of that one. The hot zone for Mike Trout. Well, he gives you a lot of choices to hit that hot zone.
The hot zone up, those are hanging breaking balls, not the heaters.
And a line shot, one hop to short. Out at second, wide throw to first. 1 run had already scored. Here comes another man. Trout's going to wind up at second. The Rays had the double play right there. It was going to cost them a run, but boy, they were going to take the double play and give up another run. And as it turns out, they give up 2 there, and it's a 3-run inning.
Yeah, and the feed from Brad Miller was right on the money to Nick Franklin. Nick Franklin was set up at second base very, very well. And you can understand that reaction because he just yanked the throw down and away from Logan Morrison. That mistake hurts. Costs you runs, it costs you outs.
So the error will cost the Rays the run. The extra run there on that play. Escobar crossing the plate to make it 3-0. Second error of the year committed by Franklin. His other error was his left, and now there goes Trout stealing third, and he steals it with abandon.
He rounded the bag. When do you see that? Boy, look at the jump, the moving lead and the jump right there. And I've not seen a guy steal third base and actually round the bag. No chance for a throw.
He is 14 of 15 in that department, and that he made it look easy. 1-1 to count as Pujols misses.
Well, and what that does is it forces the Rays to bring the infield in with a fly ball pitcher on the mound, and instead of a base hit having to score Mike Trout, now just a fly ball to the outfield gets the job done.
Liner into left. That's going to be caught by Dickerson. The tag, and Trout heads to the plate and scores easily to make it 4-0.
And that's what
Trout, taking care of business out there, an advantage on actually the negligence to allow him to really walk unmolested into third.
That's why he is going to the Midsummer Classic. Plays like that.
So the Angels put a 4 spot up in the third. C.J. Cron. A ball, no strikes. Foul right back into the screen. A high popper. Morrison after it. So is Casale. And oh, what a grab by Casale. Great effort by the Rays catcher. A sliding catch in front of the dugout, and that will end the inning. 4-run score for the Angels. Here's another look at that great grab by Curt Casale. 4-0 Los Angeles. The mound now with a 4-run lead. 7 men to the plate, 4 score. Curt Casale will open the bottom of the 3rd. Pitch is a strike. Break to that one and into the zone. Foul. 2.
Another one of those curveballs, Dwayne, that you were talking about earlier, where he really will take things off. You know, instead of being able to add on the fastball that sits around 85, 86, you just keep subtracting from it. And that's the way Weaver pitches.
Yeah, that's the way he has survived. And you mentioned it earlier, a much different pitcher than he was. There's a broken bat and a long foul. Hit that ball a long way with a broken bat.
Well, that's because, again, like Evan Longoria earlier, you have a hard time staying back. That was 85, and actually Curt Casale was too quick on it. He hit that ball off the end of the bat because he was out in front. Just got to wait back a hair longer, see if the Rays make that adjustment second time through.
There's a long one down the line. Will that stay fair? That ball is foul.
Cannot stay back long enough.
That was that breaking ball. Let's take a look at this one. Right down the line it goes.
He may take even more off of it. See how he can slow it down even more.
The 0-2. And that's a little bit low, I guess. And Weaver's wondering himself.
So am I. I mean, you look at Ben May's strike zone, and it has been wildly inconsistent. That ball's certainly out over the plate. He must have had it down. Fox Trax is in love with it, and that's a strike.
Yeah.
Same pitch.
Strike 3 called. Third strikeout for Weaver. First out in the third. Time to check in with Todd Callis again.
Dwayne, thank you. It is Miracle League night tonight at Tropicana Field, an annual event where we have all the participants from the Miracle League right here in St. Petersburg. They play at Violet's Field. My boy Matty Walker right here. Matty Ice threw out the first pitch. Guys, this is an incredible program. It's been going on for almost 15 years now, and they need help with their field. You can see on their GoFundMe page that you can contribute to the Miracle League in St. Petersburg. Rays players have been heavily involved with the Miracle League here in St. Pete. In May, there are about 6 or 7 players there. And guys, they're getting ready for the fall season right now. They would love to be able to get a new field. So whatever you can do to help out on that GoFundMe page. Right now, the Miracle League in attendance tonight at Tropicana Field, having a great time. And they were on the field before the game. Guys, back to you.
All right, and boy, that's to spend any time in support of the Miracle League is really great. And Matt Walker, not only a great fan of the game, but a great student of this game as well. He's very serious about this game, and so Todd, you're absolutely right. 2 strikes the count to Forsythe. The pitch is up. It's 1-2. Forsythe DHing against Jared Weaver, where he's playing catch-up against the veteran right-hander. Well, Weaver had some big years with this Angels club, including going 20-5 back in 2012. And an 18-9 season 2 years later. See, 144 wins, 88 losses, and over 300 starts.
That's a tremendous winning percentage. 144 and 88.
Yep.
You don't see him much better than that, really.
Full count now. Well, when you look at his velocity now, I mean, he's a mid-80s guy. I mean, every once in a while you'll see something maybe a little above that, but as a rule, about 85. There's a fly ball into left. Marte is there. That was a fastball, and I think that the gun at the ballpark here at Tropicana Field had that one at 84.
And again, where did Logan Forsythe hit that ball? Right off the end of the bat.
Yep. And here's the range.
Yeah. I remember the 86 too, because there was a grunt and I think a little pirouette at the end. I mean, handstand. I don't know. I remember that pitch vividly.
Now Brad Miller. And he pops it up. Giovatella out from second into shallow right field, handles it. Rays are up and down, 1, 2, 3. On to the fourth, 4-0. Now the Angels put 4 up in the third. Drew Smyly has given up 4 runs, 4 hits. And he faces Jeffrey Marte to lead off the 4th inning. Broken bat ground ball that gets away. Stayed down on Longoria. And Miller tracks it down.
How often do you see that? And you wonder if that ball, that ball wasn't hit that hard, and Evan was backing up trying to get the right hop that he wanted. And it just sneaks under the glove. Thought maybe it hit the lip, and that was not the case. Just a misplay by Evan. Very, very rare occurrence.
Yeah, Kevin Cash came out to take a look at Curt Casale. He took a shot. And, that's an all too often occurrence here. We've seen that. Look at the backswing.
That hit him hard and solid.
Marte reaches on the error. Here's Giovitella. Strike on the outside edge. Giovitella hit a fly ball into right, caught by Souza Jr. Two. Angels have put runners on in 3 of the first 4 innings. This one blocked by Casale. And the leadoff man Marte aboard here in the 4th. That error, the 5th of the year committed by Evan Longoria. Over there, Marte back in. Giovitella out of Louisiana, born in New Orleans. We originally saw him in the big leagues with Kansas City a few years ago. A chance to play regularly. There's a base hit into center field. Marte will stop at second. And Giovitella, who's been red hot, has a base hit. Got a chance last year to play every day, and boy, he took advantage of that opportunity, hit over 270.
And how about this? Short swing. That's the only way that you're going to get to the fastball that has elevation to it. And we know that Drew Smyly likes to use that pitch, often with great success. You take a big swing at that, those are the ones you swing and miss. But Giovitella, smart hitter, uses the other side of the field. That time he shortens the swing, goes back up the middle, and gets on top of that pitch.
Bandy shows the bunt, puts it down. Smyly looked at third, goes to first. So Bandy bunts both men up into scoring position.
Drew Smyly initially is thinking about making that play at third base and just kind of lingered there too with the look like that's where he wanted to go. Realized that was not going to be a very good option, and finally takes the out at first. So
you know, and sometimes when things aren't going that well for you, you start to second guess yourself on a play like that.
You force it.
Yeah.
And you end up firing one quick and wide a third, and the inning just continues to snowball. So at least he came to his senses and took the out. Now you got to make some pitches.
And Simmons, a hot hitter. Base hit already and a run scored. The Angels threatening to widen this lead they have. to center. Geyer will make the catch. Marte tags and he heads to the plate. Batella remains at second, and it's 5-0. So Simmons drives in his 18th run of the year with a line drive into center field, caught by Geyer.
Third baseman, Yunel Escobar.
4 in the third and another run in the fourth. 5-0 Angels. So this run, an unearned run, but that's merely academic. And here's Escobar. Escobar hit a ground ball through the hole between short and third in the last inning, extending his hitting streak to 11. And that one close and just got him on the hand. Escobar hit by the pitch. See if it did hit it. Did it?
Right fielder, Cole Calhoun.
Maybe not.
Maybe you want to. Can you even take a look at that? I mean,
You could take a look at it.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, if it scraped anything, it may have been the knob end of that bat.
And I think that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, and they should.
Well, Escobar, if it did not hit him, and it appeared that it did not. So if it did not hit him, that's quite an acting job right there.
Yeah. What do we say all the time? Sell it.
Yep.
He sold it.
Another close look.
Yeah, that didn't. If it did anything, it scraped the bottom of that bat. Didn't hit Escobar, though, that's for sure.
So this call will be challenged. And they're showing the pitch on the big screen here. Well, Escobar, who when he played here hit only 257, and this is not going to help him be a fan favorite here.
You mean all the boos?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was as rowdy as we've heard the crowd here the last couple of nights.
Yeah, the other night it was like a tennis match.
Eerie.
Yeah.
How quiet.
So this play remains under review. But you have to sell it if you're going to go for it. And Escobar certainly did.
Yeah, this is where you wonder what the holdup is, yay or nay.
Yeah, and you know, you go for it, you challenge it, but really you're freezing your own pitcher like a free throw shooter. You got 2 outs in the inning. And right now, you have 2 men on. The Rays are trying to reverse that. It's been a tough stretch for the Rays and Kevin Cash, and well, they're about ready to render a verdict here. They're going to send it back to the plate. The count's going to be 2-0. So it's overturned. I'll tell you, that pitch came close to being a strike. It's 2-0.
Let's review that. Yeah, it's about getting it right, Dwayne.
Yep,
it's
that's
all
it.
about getting it right.
Giabatella at second base. 2 outs, 2-0 the count on Escobar. Ball 3 upstairs. There's a strike in the upper part of the zone. 3-1. Escobar fouls it, and that will take the count full. Well, 3-2 the count. Fans here would get a kick out of Escobar being retired. And he fouled it back. Fastball. We'll see another 3-2 pitch. And he pops it up right side. Morrison busting it, trying to get down there, and comes up just short. Morrison trying to get to that low wall near the stands and found himself in an awkward position.
Yeah, he heading over and then realizing this ball's carrying a little bit more, and you see him changing direction right there. That cost him a couple of steps and not able to get to the baseball. Then you're looking down trying to find the low wall. That's a tough angle.
Well, this at bat. 7 pitches in. 3-2. Here we go. And a hot shot base hit into left. Giabatella will head to the plate, and the ball goes all the way to the wall. Escobar winds up at second as the Angels make it 6-0.
Well, he was able to yank that ball right by Evan Longoria. Let's see how close this was. Down and in. And this ball hit hard. That's a play you usually see Evan make a dive on, but he pulled off that immediately. Almost in anticipation of someone behind him. Just an odd looking play.
So Escobar gets a double. Puts up a run batted in, and here's Calhoun. Ball, no strikes. Calhoun opened the scoring when he walked with the bases loaded in the third. Singled his first time. High pop up. Casale makes the catch on this one. And so for the second straight inning, it's Casale who makes the final putout. It's 6-0 Angels. Moment on this day in 1999, the Devil Rays cap off a rally versus the Red Sox, and it's Paul Sorrento hitting a 3-run homer in the bottom of the 8th off John Walsden, giving Tampa Bay a 6-4 win. Paul Sorrento now the assistant hitting coach for the Angels. Paul spent 98 and 99 here with the Rays, playing first base in the outfield, DHing. Devin Longoria taking a strike. Longoria, Morrison, and Geyer. Foul out of play, 0-2. A ball, 2 strikes. Morrison on deck. Two and two. Foul outside of third. Fly ball lifted toward the right field line. Calhoun, full head of steam into foul territory. Oh, what a catch made by Calhoun. Great effort by the Angels right fielder, and boy, what a catch he turned in foul territory.
Boy, Dwayne, he had to go a long way Just watch. But that is full out effort. Airborne before that ball goes into the glove.
Well, he won a Gold Glove last year, the first Angel to win one since Torrey Hunter played for them and won one in '09. And what a great effort and a tip of the cap from Jared Weaver, and rightfully so. An impressive effort and great catch by Calhoun. Now here's Logan Morrison. Take a fly ball into left, and Marte, a bit more routine on that one, takes care of it. Now 2 outs in the fourth. Brandon Guyer. Guyer grounded out. Strike the count. The strike 0-2. Shot, but right there's Giovitella, and he floats the throw to first to get Guyer. Well, a great catch by Calhoun in right field on this foul ball off Longoria's bat. Tremendous effort and equally tremendous catch for Calhoun. Gold Glover with great effort. We're through 4, 6-0 Los Angeles. We go to the 5th inning. 6-0. The Angels lead the Rays. Mike Trout leads it off. Headed back to the All-Star game this year in San Diego. Strike the count. Middle part of the order. Trout hitting third, then Pujols and Cron. And the long one. Deep to left, and he has hit it out, and then some. Mike Trout's 18th home run of the year, and that makes it 7-0 Angels. 20th home run given up by Smiley this year. He and Weaver each have allowed 20 home runs. Trout tees off.
Now off speed, and it just hangs out over the plate and actually is moving back towards him. And boy, did he lay waste to that.
Four in the third, 2 in the fourth, and now 1 here in this inning. And that pitch fouled back just above us, just into the upper deck, and then right back down again. Two balls and a strike. 2-2. The Angels have scored in 3 consecutive innings. It's out of play. You saw Trout over there with Paul Sorrento, no doubt reminding Paulie that he hit a big home run on this date. It gave the Devil Rays a win. So he said, well, hit one for you. Two the count. Full count now on Pujols. Popped up foul. Down to play.
There's that ball, that lower part of the zone, and that uppercut swing and that carry. So powerful. 18th home run to go along with that batting average, top 5 in the American League.
And Pujols walks. So a home run followed by a walk. Pujols dropped that bat after walking, and he almost hit Casale. Casale's been hit with a backswing and almost got hit on ball 4 there by a bat.
This has not been the Rays' night.
Oh, not at all. And Casale has had a tough night back there physically. He's made some great stops. He's been hit by a backswing, made 2 great catches. There's a strike. Ball. Sturdivant gets up. Fouled into the top of the screen. Seven runs, 7 hits for the Angels. C.J. Cron hitless tonight. That worries you. And there's a liner up the left side. That's fair and bounds out of play for a ground rule double. That sends Pujols to third. Still nobody out in this inning, and 2 more men in scoring position.
You know, there's another one of those breaking balls, and we've seen a number of these just not have the bite, the normal spin that you're accustomed to. And this one just works its way down and in. C.J. Cron drops the head of the bat, keeps it fair. And the Angels just continue to swing the bats and bludgeon the Rays.
Well, here's Marte. The fifth inning isn't even over yet, and every man in this lineup for the Angels has been on base. There's a strike to Marte. And 8 of the 9 have either scored a run or driven a run home. Cron at second, who holds at third, and that's a strike to Marte. 0-2. Ball, 2 strikes. And a popper foul, that's out of play. Giavotella on deck. He has singled and scored a run, continuing his hot streak. It's 2-2 to Marte. Inside, fastball in around 90. Marte, originally in the Mets organization, got to the big leagues with Detroit and now with the Angels. And ball 4, he takes outside, so that loads the bases. And Kevin Cash comes out now. Nobody out here in this inning. Smiley touch for the home run by Trout. The bases are loaded and he will depart. 4 innings plus for Smiley. And the Rays make a pitching change in the 5th. Smiley, 4 innings plus, 8 hits. Didn't strike out anyone, 3 walks. He's been charged with 7 runs, 5 earned, and he's responsible for 3 men on as he departs. So an 88 pitch performance. Tyler Sturdivant on in relief, facing Giavotella. The pitch is up.
I think the big tell for Drew Smiley here tonight was the no strikeouts. Yeah, that's one thing that he's been able to do is ring up some good strikeout numbers with the Rays. But again, you go back to the off speed. The fastball wasn't as crisp as you would like to see, but the off speed just kind of ran together too. You had a hard time telling the curveball from the changeup. Nothing was very sharp at all.
Well, if you look at his velocity numbers, and you're absolutely right about the secondary pitches, and that's been the case for a while. But if you look at his numbers from, say, early June, that velocity is down a tick or two. Ground ball back to Sturdivant out at the plate, and the throw down to first, picked out there by Logan Morrison, and the Rays get a 1-2-3 double play on that ball hit by Johnny Giavotella.
Well, that was a close play down at first base, and wonder if the Angels are going to want to take a look at that. Obviously not. Well, that was close. Well, they are taking a quick peek, but Curt Casali, when he came off home plate, just had trouble securing that baseball right away, and that's what allowed Giavotella to get close right here. It's kind of a little fumble right there.
Very close.
Yeah, they got him.
So now second and third, 2 outs.
A backhanded stab there by Logan Morrison to close it out.
And here's Jet Bandy, aptly put. 1-0 the count. Bandy singled and scored in the third. Sacrificed in the 4th inning. Strike at the knees. 1-1. Bounding away, but just to the left up the line a bit. 2-1. Baltimore beat the Dodgers in 14 innings. And Plant High School product out of Tampa, Michael Gibbons got that win. Trumbo with 2 home runs. He has 26 now. Now 3-1. .36 combined strikeouts in that Orioles-Dodgers game, 18 each team. That's a Dodger Stadium record. No ball 4. Bandy walks. So that reloads the bases. And we'll get Simmons up there.
Shortstop.
He scored a run and has driven a run home. Simmons hitting for the 3rd time here in the bottom of the 5th inning of this game. He's the number 9 hitter. Trout started the 5th with a home run, his 18th. It's wide, 2-0.
Yeah, this is where it becomes difficult. You know, you're trying to find some silver linings here in a ball game like this, and it's tough. It's been lopsided, ugly.
Yeah, it's been all Angels.
All Angels.
Absolutely. Sturdivant behind 3-0. 3 walks already in this inning, and he's down 3-0 to Simmons.
Yeah, that's where the ugly part comes in. Uninspired. It just doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right.
And a strike. Simmons had thrown his bat away. Thought he had drawn the walk.
Right down at the knees on the outside corner, but Simmons, you can hardly blame him. You get into a pattern there of balls being thrown, start to assume.
High fly ball, center field. Geyer back to the track. He will have room, making the catch to retire the side. Out of all that, they get the run on the leadoff home run by Trout. 7-0 Angels. Find out a bit on the next Rays charity auction item. Pitching lessons with Matt Moore. It's a one-of-a-kind experience. Includes a 1-hour session of pitching lessons, pregame field passes, personalized jerseys, and more. And proceeds benefit the Tampa General Hospital Foundation and the Rays Baseball Foundation. To bid, visit raysbaseball.com/auction. Steven Souza Jr. leading off the bottom of the 5th takes a ball. So a 7-run lead for Jared Weaver. And the curveball at 67 misses. Ryan Garten up in the bullpen. Tyler Sturdivant got out of that bases loaded situation. And 3-0. Came in with the bases loaded and prevented any more runs from scoring. 3-1. Well, the count's full. Well, Weaver came in with an earned run average over 5.5. The Rays have just the first inning single off him. Evan Longoria got a base hit. Dickerson walked with 2 outs in the second. And Souza Jr. strikes out. All moving away from him. 1 gone in the 5th. Let's check in again with Todd Callens. Todd.
Hey, Dwayne, it's part of our Web Wednesday. We have a couple questions for you. Actually, one right here. A couple of viewers, Kyle and Doug. Some fans are going up to Boston for this weekend before the All-Star break to watch a little Rays baseball, and they're wondering, you guys have an earlier game tomorrow, might get into Boston by dinner time, and a 4 o'clock game on Saturday. What is your dining option in Boston? A lot of good choices. People are wondering seafood, maybe a steakhouse, or some Italian up in the North End. What do you guys have going on?
Oh, I'll tell you what I've got going on. Wayne, you want to go first?
What are you going to do? You're going to join the Blantons?
Well, yeah.
Dinner?
Yeah. I mean, early.
Yep. Okay.
Early, and then for a little nightcap. But
yes,
Del Frisco's down on the wharf.
Oh yeah.
It's up above Jerry Remy's place, and it's absolutely fantastic. Great views, tremendous food.
There you are.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, there are 2 or 3 spots on the North End.
Yeah.
If you want Italian, that's the place to go, and we might find our way up there. A couple of really special places.
Well, when they don't take reservations and you're just forced to go there and just wait it out, you know what I mean? They don't say, that's special too.
Yeah.
I like the surf and turf.
Nick Franklin here, 2 outs in the 5th. The ball, no strikes.
Yeah, you know what? Probably not the Blantons aren't going to make it up there in time. I think it's going to be dinner, and then I'll hook up with the Blantons probably at Sansi a little bit later.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Good idea. You don't want to rush.
No. And I'm not going to wait on them.
2 balls, no strikes. There's a liner into right, got to get down for a base hit. So Nick Franklin has a hit, the second hit of the ball game for the Rays, and finally a base hit gives the Rays fans a little something to cheer about here. It has been one of those nights where the Angels have been about all that's gone on here in a positive way. Not much for the Rays.
No, and I think both hits by the Rays tonight were off the end of the bat, broken bat hits.
Here's Kurt Casale. Pitch outside, the curveball. Last time up, Weaver and Casale played, can you keep the slow curveball fair down the left field line? And he had a couple long ones down that way, but both foul. Four strikeouts, a walk, 2 hits allowed. We're 2 outs into the 5th here. The Rays against Jared Weaver. Ground ball to short. Simmons with the underhanded toss to second. Rays go out, leave a man. We head to the 6th. 7-0 the score. Angels. They scored 4 in the third. Double by Escobar in the fourth inning. Chased home one of the 2 runs in that inning. And Mike Trout opened the fifth with a home run, his 18th of the year. Smiley chased in that inning, giving up 7 runs, 4 earned in 4 innings plus. Tyler Sturdivant came on, got credit for the full inning in the fifth. Did not allow any of those runners to score. And Ryan Garten is the new pitcher for the Rays to open inning number 6, and he'll face the top of the order, Yunel Escobar. Pitch is outside. Escobar doubled in the fourth after he had feigned being hit by a pitch with the requisite reaction of holding the hand and the crinkling of the face, and that was later overturned. So the fans were on him a little bit as he stepped in this time, especially after he lined a double and scored a run. Shoots that one foul out of play. 1-1. One and two, the count on him. Went in a little bit. Calhoun on deck. It's foul down in front of Gary DiSarcina and on down toward the bullpen. And a souvenir flipped into the stands.
Which is going to lead to a melee. Oh, there you go.
Strike 3 called, and Escobar yelling no, puts up a squawk with Ben May. And May looks at him as Escobar finally walks away.
Well, a little cutter by Ryan Garten finds its way right to the corner. This is a good pitch, and listen to Yunel Escobar. The fact that he went to the nose that quick means he knows that it was a strike, or it was at least going to be called.
Great restraint shown by Ben May. And the pitch to Calhoun is down. 1 ball, no strikes.
Yeah, but for how much longer can he do that?
Calhoun made a great play in the fourth inning on the foul ball up the right side, hit by Longoria. He has a hit and a bases loaded walk tonight, 1 for 2 officially. But what a grab he made. Garten behind him, 3-0. It's been a mess tonight for the Rays, and the Angels have taken control. That's a strike, 3-1. Strike, and it's a full count.
Yeah, now Cole Calhoun not happy, and you can understand his. That ball was off the plate clearly. That four-seam fastball just kind of riding its way off.
And that foul ball, big cut there. That ball boring in on him. Garten, a 34th round pick in the 2012 draft by the Rays. Delivers, and a popper foul that's headed out of play. Well, the Angels finished last night's game off with a 6-run ninth. It was a competitive game until then. They won 13-5, and they have come right out and established a 7-run lead tonight as we play in the 6th. Calhoun out on strikes. 2 gone in the 6th. He's going to get Mike Trout up there. Our Toyota inside look at the career of this talented young man. 25th pick overall out of the 09 draft, and he was Rookie of the Year by 2012, MVP in the American League by 2014, and now a 5-time All-Star, 4-time starter in the All-Star game. The pitch to him is a strike.
You know, and he came into the league, the speed, the stolen bases that he was able to rack up, running more this year. We saw him get an easy stolen base here tonight, but the power has what has really emerged for Mike Trout. Now middle of the lineup guy.
1-1. Well, he opened the 5th with a home run and left little doubt about it.
You have the easy stolen base of third, and then you've got that swing and lift and the home run. He could do it all. Haven't even scratched the surface in talking about his defense out in center field either.
Three and one. Garten with a couple strikeouts, went 3-2 to Calhoun and finally got him. A big cut. Boy, he was unloading on that 3-1 fastball. Up and up and in.
He's got a quick bat.
There's ball 4. Two-out walk. Every day feels like Christmas with Kiermaier Claus bobblehead. Presented by TGH Children's Medical Center. Kids 14 and under receive the bobblehead while supplies last. When the Rays take on the Orioles, that'll be Sunday, July 17th. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Rays up. Albert Pujols looks at a strike. Last time Garten faced Pujols was Monday when he was in the process of getting his first big league save. Pujols shoots it foul up the right side beyond the bullpen. So far for Ryan Garten, 2 strikeouts and a walk in this inning. A 2-strike pitch. It's foul. Pujols going after that one, expanding the strike zone. Low. A ball, 2 strikes. Ground ball third. Longoria takes it across the diamond to first. Top of the sixth is over. A man left. 7-0 LA. Fox Sports Sun brought to you by Dodge. Visit your local Dodge dealer today. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by your Southern Chevy dealers. Jared Weaver threw 5 as allowed just 2 hits, no runs, allowing 1 walk. Logan Forsythe leads it off. First pitch is down a bit. Change in left field. Marte's out of the game, and Todd Cunningham is in there now for the Angels. A shot back into left. That one's going to get out of here, and the Rays are on the board. Logan Forsythe hits his 7th home run of the year. 7-1.
Well, you got to start somewhere. As good as any. 3rd time through. It looks like a front door cutter that ends up on the inner half, and Logan Forsythe waits back, and boy does he unload. A rocket shot right out of here.
Brad Miller. This pitch is a strike. Miller quickly behind in the count. Ground ball to Giovanni in front of it. Comes up throwing. It's the first out. Miller 0 for 3 tonight. Evan Longoria 1 for 2 with a first inning single comes to the plate now. Matt Andriese busy in the bullpen for the Rays. They've utilized Drew Smiley, Tyler Sturdivant, and Ryan Garten. Foul ball coming back over the screen. 1-1. Well, Evan Longoria in the final vote for the All-Star team. Ian Kinsler, Dustin Pedroia, Michael Saunders, and George Springer in that vote as well. The competition for Evan. Voting ends at MLB.com July 8th at 4 p.m. Eastern, and a spot on the All-Star team in the balance. High fly ball, deep but foul. Well, the Rays have hit 2 or 3 down there in that spot, but just can't stay back. Sally hit a couple there. Longoria now 1 deep but foul. There's a base hit through the left side. They had to shift on. Evan has his second hit tonight.
Well, we often talk about the stuff in the game, and Jared Weaver, one of those pitchers that doesn't have that overpowering stuff, so it's a completely different look. But here Evan Longoria is able to reach out there and poke that ball right through that shift. Another base hit.
Logan Morrison 0 for 2. Popped out to short in the first, hit a fly ball to left in the 4th inning. I want to know the count. Slow breaking ball is fouled back. AC Ramirez up in the bullpen. He was in the game here on Monday. Pitched 1 inning. Weaver at 89 pitches. He threw 90 pitches in his last outing. Season's high, and then he won outing 106. Two balls and a strike. After that pitch up out of the zone. Yeah, Jared, that fastball at like 82.
Yeah, well, that's taking advantage of a hitter who is aggressive. He has the count in his favor. You're giving him the pitch that he wants. He knows you're not overpowering, but you put it just enough up that the big swing is not able to catch up to that pitch. That's what Jared Weaver does, just add and subtract, up and down. Everything's got a little bit of movement to it.
It's inside, turns him away, and the count is full. Yeah, he'll tantalize you out there.
Just tries to keep you off balance, and that, you know, even some of these long foul balls, the Rays hitter just a hair off balance, a hair too quick with the swing out in front. That's the way that he has to pitch now to survive.
Longoria takes off, ball hit on the ground to first. Crone makes the play unassisted, and Evan moves into second. So Morrison is 0 for 3 tonight, the second out. Brandon Guyer, with a couple ground ball outs, is on his way to the plate. Geyer hitting .259 this time in. 4 strikeouts for Weaver, giving up a run and 4 hits. Swing and a miss, strike 1. One and one to count. Just a little off. Weaver thought he had the zone on that one. Been a couple of those, 2 or 3 of them at least tonight for Weaver. Out of play, a foul ball, and the count is 2-2. Steven Souza Jr. on deck. This is outside as he closes in on 100 pitches. You see there at 98, and a 3-2 count to Brandon Geyer.
And you wonder if this will be his last hitter. I mean, he is trying to find a way to entice Brandon Geyer to make that final out here in the 6th.
A cut and a miss. He gets the strikeout on the 83-mile-an-hour fastball up. Rays get a run on the Logan Forsythe home run. On to the 7th, 7-1 Los Angeles.
Coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. There is Alex Cobb, who hadn't pitched in a game since spring training, St. Patty's Day of last year, pitching for the Charlotte Stone Crabs in his first rehab game tonight. Probably about a 30-day stretch here where he will be pitching every 5 days. Today was basically his first day of spring training. Didn't go that great. 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, 2 walks, only 8 strikes of his 21 pitches. Alex said after the game that he was not happy with the results, but he was happy that he has something to build off of. And guys, it was great to see him back on a mound, and he will have a lot more outings at the minor league level to get ready before coming back to the Rays, hopefully around a month from now. Back to you.
Yeah, it'd be great to see him back up here, but the general idea is to make sure he's ready and to spend as much time as he needs to come back from Tommy John surgery. Ground ball to Miller. High throw and an attempt to tag, and now he's off the bag and a tag, and now it's going to be safe. I mean, Morrison continues to tag him. So Matt Andriese entered the game, throws the ground ball to Crone, and we got quite a play over there at first base by Mike Estabrook making the call. Here's a look.
And that throw just sails on Brad Miller. And then the attempt of a tag right there by Logan Morrison, not able to do it. And there he tags first base. Morrison, of course, now tagging. Just an odd run through the bag.
Well, it's going to be interesting as Kevin Cash comes out of all the things that have gone on tonight. Cash first to Ben May, and now down to Mike Estabrook. You know, it is an interesting dilemma because he didn't exactly run through the bag. He went back and tagged it and then didn't call time and stepped off the bag, and that's when Morrison tagged him. Really interesting.
I find zero interest in it at this point. Got to be honest.
So Kevin Cash tries to make his point. There it is. That'll be an error on the throw. He avoids the tag, gets back, and then walked off in foul territory. And Estabrook, who was inclined to call him out there for a moment, overruled himself and said, no, actually, he's safe. So there you go. Runner at first. And here's Cunningham fouling the first pitch he sees tonight. Out of play, strike one. 14th appearance for Andriese. Comes in 6-2. Rays have committed 3 errors tonight. 2 the count. So Cunningham at Salt Lake for the Bees. 292 with 4 home runs. 12 with the Angels. Side 1-2. Ground ball. Franklin to Miller, 1. First base not going to be in time. So Crone is forced at second on the ground ball. Cunningham reaches on a fielder's choice. Toronto beat Kansas City 4-2 with 2 in the 8th to win that one. Stroman picks up the win, worked 8 innings. He's now 7-4.
Together a couple of outings here back to back where he's thrown the ball well. It was a struggle there for a while for Marcus Stroman. The record not showing it, the ERA and all of the other numbers not that good, but he's tightened things up the last couple of times out. Fixed the problem. I'll tell you, that Toronto team gaining a little bit of momentum. Baltimore has stumbled a little bit, won today, won the last couple of games, but they had what, a 5-game losing streak. Toronto continues to plod along. Boston's cruising tonight. Going to be an interesting month to see who are the buyers, who are the sellers, how soon does something happen.
Yeah, that's going to be especially interesting.
You know, it used to be, Dwayne, that you waited right up until the very end to try to get the best deal that you could, but it's become more in vogue now where teams want to maybe give you a really good offer and jump in a little bit early with the thinking, hey, if it's a pitcher, I get this guy, I get him early, I get him for an extra 3 or 4 starts.
Yep.
Then if I wait till the very end.
Yeah, there is that. And what they go up against is how many teams are going to be in and out of the race. The later you go, maybe the more teams fall out. So you get a wider selection of potential additions. Miller had trouble unloading that and out at first. 6-4-3. Top of the 7th is over. We go to the bottom half. 7th inning stretch. 7-1 LA. We're in the middle of the 7th inning. Jared Weaver is going to leave this game after 6, allowing the Rays just 1 run on the Logan Forsythe home run. Mike Trout connected for a homer in the 5th inning, his 18th of the year. And by the time he did that, his team was already up 6-0. They scored 4 in the 3rd, a couple more in the 4th, and then the home run by Trout. He's headed to the All-Star game for the 5th time. As we go to the bottom of the 7th, Steven Souza Jr. will be facing J.C. Ramirez, who pitched in the first game of the series. On for the 33rd time.
On the record of 1-3, ERA 5.92, does almost have a strikeout per inning.
Souza fouls the first pitch away, strike 1. "99 pitches for Weaver. Gave up a run on 4 hits, walked 1, struck out 5. close. And to right, a liner that's going to drop for a base hit. Souza, big turn at first, and he gets back in after making that turn. So leadoff single the other way for Steven Souza Jr.
They're going to shoot this ball to right, and right out of the gate, Steven Souza Jr. is thinking double, as a lot of Rays will do. And Cole Calhoun, you do not want to mess around with him. Not tonight. Not most nights.
Now Corey Dickerson. He has walked and gone out pitcher first. Ramirez worked the 7th inning in Monday's game, had a couple ground balls and a strikeout. And he's ahead of Dickerson. He faced Conger, Forsythe, and Miller, and that one, Souza, Dickerson, and Franklin. First 3 hitters here in the 7th, way wide. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Dickerson fouls that one out of play. Had 3 hits last night. 3 out of 4, a couple of singles and a double sandwiched in between. Foul ball off that mid-90s fastball. Rays and the Angels tomorrow, then the Rays head up to Boston. Spend the weekend there, and then that leads up to the All-Star break. It's a foul ball and headed out of the reach of Cunningham. After the All-Star break, the Rays are home for just a 3-game series against the Baltimore Orioles. And after that, won't be home until the 29th of July. A 1-2 count. 2-2. Another foul. This one is out of play. Nick Franklin waiting on deck. And to left, and Cunningham is there. Makes the catch, and that's the first out. And the Rays Friday will be in Boston. Chris Archer will open that series. This is what comes up Friday on Rays Live, the pregame show. As always, presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. We'll hear from Chris Archer. We'll be opening the series, and the rest of us will break down the career of David Ortiz. His final year, and he is having a year to remember.
We're leading the way for that Boston offense, and they've got a lot of guys in there swinging the bats well. He's going to put 11 runs on the board tonight. But David Ortiz getting better with age. And truly.
Franklin with a 1-1 count. Oh, that hits him. He's got a couple base runners. Franklin hit by the pitch, pushing Souza into second base.
I'm going to tell you something. I think that ball got him right on that padding, and he is fortunate. This is mid-90s. Yeah, are you kidding me? That thing's not there. He may be going to get checked, you know, get an X-ray right off that shin at 95.
Yeah, J.C. Ramirez throws hard. Now Hank Conger, who entered the game in the top half of this inning. Swing and a miss. Conger 1 for 3 last night. He also played in Monday night's game. High fly ball into center. Trout is there to make the catch, and that's the second out. We'll go back around to the top of the order. Logan Forsythe has accounted for the only run for the Rays. The home run in the 6th inning. Logan connecting on Jared Weaver. And now he faces J.C. Ramirez. One ball, no strikes. Ramirez out of Nicaragua, originally in the Seattle organization. Spent some time with the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. Most recently with the Reds. 1-1. So you've seen in the game here the other night as well. He's loosening. Logan behind in the count. Rays with 2 men on. 2 men on, 2 men out. And this is the first time tonight that the Rays have done that. 2 men on at the same time in any one inning. It's been that lopsided to this point. 7-1 Angels.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing. You know, one swing in a situation like this, and you've got a whole new ball game.
Yep. You have a guy pop one, then it's 7-4.
Yeah.
And you're right back in business.
It certainly doesn't feel that way. No question about that. It's just been an awful feel all night long. But you're right. Run into one right here. He's already hit one early in this ball game. He had a chance to make things interesting here at the end.
And a cut to miss. That fastball at 96. And the Rays lead 2. We go to the 8th. 7-1 Angels. Showdown brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. And the Angels have dominated. They knocked out Drew Smyly after 4 innings plus. All 7 runs, 4 earned, charged to Smyly tonight. Sturdivant followed for an inning, Garten for an inning. Matt Andriese has an inning under his belt. And the first pitch in the 8th. That pitch is a strike. Jet Bandy, the catcher. Liner into right, 1 hop, and that is a base hit. So the 9th hit of the night, Bandy aboard. Let's check in with Todd one more time. Todd?
All right, Dwayne, one more Web Wednesday question. Our viewers still have their thoughts on this one as we continue on here in the 7-1 game in the 8th inning. They want to ask about the trade deadline coming up, about 3.5 weeks. Your thoughts, guys, whether or not the Rays might try to deal one of the starting pitchers on this team?
Well, there's definitely interest, no question, around the game. And I would think that anything's possible in that department.
You're going to listen. You're absolutely going to entertain and listen to what these teams are offering, who they're looking at, and you know they're going to be kicking the tires, and that's what really this month is all about. Is teams start to separate themselves and say, hey, we're all in, we're going for it, or we're not. Start to look around, and you know one of the big things that they're saying, the reason why. You know, the starting pitching, you're looking to trade for it now. They said that the free agent crop coming up this year is not going to be anything outstanding.
Yep.
And so you've got a weaker market there. You've got potentially a weak market as far as the trades go this month, not knowing who's going to stand pat and who's going to, make their guys available. So you've got a chance, if you move early, to kind of set the market to get a kind of haul that you would want to get. But I guarantee you the Rays are sitting back and listening to.
Well, and they will approach it this way, that they will have the leverage in any of those discussions. If a team's trying to make a move to add talent, they think that'll make the difference between winning and not winning the division and getting into the postseason.
Especially when that talent is under control financially. You're not talking about a guy at the end of his, in the last year of his deal, where teams are going, we know they're going to move him at some point. The Rays don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So they do have a lot of leverage in this situation.
And we'll continue, I'm sure, to hear a lot about primarily pitching. And I think they'll ask about any of those pitchers in the rotation.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't be doing your due diligence if you didn't.
Yep.
You target the guys that you would like, and you certainly you're gonna inquire.
Want to know the count to Yunel Escobar. It's a strike. It's 1-1. Escobar with a couple hits tonight. Drove in a run in the 4th inning, scored a run in the 3rd. Ground ball 2nd. Franklin to Miller, 1 over to 1st, and they get the 4-6-3 double play. We go to the bottom of the 8th, 7-1 Los Angeles. Rays baseball on Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com today. By LRE, specializing in concrete releveling, soil stabilization, and restoration services since 1989. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Jhoulys Chacin is the new pitcher. The 3rd of the night for the Angels. First pitch to Miller is a strike. 3-7 in 16 prior appearances. Chacin worked the 8th inning of Monday's game. He's ahead of Miller, 0-2. Evan Longoria's on deck, and then Logan Morrison due up. And strike 3 called by Ben May.
Just seeing him just working that fastball around the zone and ends up painting on Miller there for out number 1.
Well, there's Longoria. Evan 2 for 3, hitting .281, part of the All-Star final vote. And voting ends July 8th at 4 p.m. Eastern. Vote and vote often.
Now, these two teams will be back at it here in the morning.
Yes, they will.
Tomorrow.
It's a 12:10 first pitch tomorrow.
So not a whole lot of time to digest this one, good or bad. See how it turns out. Got to turn right around and be ready to go early tomorrow.
Two and one. Three balls and a strike. Chacin got Evan on a fly ball to right Monday. And way behind him here. There's a liner into center, base hit. Evan is 3 for 4. He has half the Rays hits.
How about going down to get this one too? I mean, that ball on the outer half, outer third, about shin high. Talk about covering some ground right there. Evan goes down, gets it, and shoots it right into center field.
Here's Logan Morrison. Shoots it toward the gap. Right center field. Longoria goes to third. Montoya will stop him on the double. Second and third with 1 out. The Rays had a couple men on in the 7th inning, left them on. And now another threat here with both these runners in scoring position. 1 out into the 8th.
Yeah, trying to go down and away, you go down and in. That's a dangerous spot to leave a pitch to a left-handed hitter. And Logan Morrison just rifles that ball out there. Skips by Calhoun. And here you got a chance to make it interesting once again.
Brandon Guyer 0 for 3. Swing and a miss, the ball popping away. Longoria coming down from third, and he is out the call. Tried to get around Bandy, who was struggling to locate that pitch and come up with it to put the tag.
Well, we'll see.
And they're going to take a look at it. Did he get him or not? Not yet.
No, he did not.
Not yet.
Complete whiff.
And Longoria scores.
Yeah, he's safe. There's no question. And this should not take very long.
So the Rays will get a run here. Some evasive action by Evan Longoria. Bandy trying to put the tag on him, missed him. And so Evan scores. So the call overturned. And Longoria scores on a wild pitch. And they say it's a strike. So it's an 0-1 count. Morrison still at second base. Two. So as Longoria came down the line from third and scored to make it 7-2, Morrison still aboard at second.
Yeah,
side 1 and 2.
I had moved Morrison already to third base, just assuming that he had moved up.
Yep. Thought he might get over there as well. Two and two. It's Cam Bedrosian. It's an inning yesterday. And a 2-2 count on Geyer. Now the count is full. Steven Souza Jr. on deck. Well, the Angel right-hander toying with the idea of letting the Rays become relevant in this game. Fly ball back into center. It's catchable for Trout. Now the tag, and Morrison heads to third. So the fly ball to center advances him from second to third. Two gone. Well, if he'd somehow made it to third, that would have scored him. And Steven Souza Jr. up with 2 outs and a runner at third. Strike one. Getting in front of that pitch. Another slider. 1-1. Shaheed formerly with the Rockies. His best year in 2013. He won 14 games, was 14-10. Into the dirt, blocked again. 2-1 the count.
nice job getting over. He's had a number of these from Chacin. A lot of yanked sliders right into the dirt. Keep a catcher busy.
That is a strike. 2-2. Ground ball back to the hip. That retires Souza and the Rays. They settled for one and trailed 7-2. Of baseball superstars come together for the primetime event that will light up the summer. The MLB All-Star Game from San Diego next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox. In the ninth inning tonight, Cole Calhoun leads off. 1 for 3, had a bases loaded walk in the third. And Andriese throws him a strike. Mike Trout will hit second, and then Albert Pujols. One count. Andriese came out in the seventh. Crone reached on an error, and eventually a double play ball took care of that. Jet Bandy opened the eighth with a base hit, and eventually a double play ball took care of that. Now 1-1 to Calhoun here in the ninth. Lifts a high hopper foul. Dickerson is going to be there and makes the catch just across the left field line. Coming up, Rays Live, the post game presented by Checkers. We'll hear from Kevin Cash in his press conference and further interviews from the clubhouse. Well, Mike Trout, a couple of runs batted in tonight, a walk and a home run. Has a stolen base. Pitch is a strike at the knees. Two. 1-2 the count. Albert Pujols waiting to hit next. Sailed way high. 2-2.
Trying to execute that elevated fastball. That's the tendency. That's a fine line you walk with that pitch. You know, if you can get it to the exact spot, you know, right around letter high, you get those swings and misses or pop-ups all day long. But boy, a little bit lower than that, it gets hit hard. Higher than that, it's an easy take for a ball, just like that.
Full count.
You almost have to mechanically change, stay a little bit more upright, and just drive that pitch letter high.
And that one came in and a foul ball deflecting off Conger.
It's almost going to hit Mike Trout. Oof, close, boy, right. Just that rattle around.
How about
another
that off,
twofer?
Yeah, off Conger and May.
Just got Mike Trout in the hand.
And that's strike 3 call. Trout called out on strikes.
You know, and the ironic thing is that's where Mike Trout likes the ball. I mean, down, out, over the plate. He likes the ball down there, taking that, thinking it's ball 4. I'll tell you, the Angels have not been big fans of the strike zone of Ben May, going back to early in the game and Jared Weaver.
Two gone in the ninth. Here's Albert Pujols. That's a strike. Upper part of the zone. Pujols thinks it's up.
There you go.
It's a big strike zone. Outside. 1-1. Tapper foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rays will have Dickerson, Franklin, and Conger coming up in the bottom of the ninth. One-two. Look out, back toward the middle. But there is Franklin, and the throw to first in time to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down. Bottom of the ninth coming. 7-2 ball game. We head into the bottom of the 9th inning. That's Cam Bedrosian. He'll be the 4th pitcher sent to the mound by Mike Scioscia tonight.
Well, we were impressed with his stuff in last night's ball game, and I'll tell you, you got to be impressed with those numbers. 30 strikeouts, 30 innings, the ERA of 1.20. And he keeps the ball in the yard. 34 appearances, 30 innings, 1 home run given up.
Corey Dickerson will be the first hitter to face Bedrosian tonight. That's foul back. Bedrosian came on, worked the 8th inning last night when he got Oswaldo Arcia on a fly ball to left, gave up a hit to Conger, and then threw a double play ball to Forsythe. One and one to count. Dickerson has been on once tonight. First time up, he drew a walk. Two balls and a strike. Nick Franklin will be next. Evens the count. Strike at the knees. So Bedrosian with a high strike and a low strike.
Yeah, nobody's happy with this strike zone. Corey Dickerson saying, really? At the shins now?
Ground ball left side. That's off the glove of Simmons, and a base hit for Dickerson. He got that one to the left of Escobar. Had Simmons ranging to his right, couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, they had the infielders pulled over there on Corey Dickerson. You see Simmons right there up the middle. And how about that for placement?
The Rays pick up their 8th hit. Here's Nick Franklin. He's been on twice with a base hit. Hit by a pitch his last time. Officially 1 out of 2. Ball 1. Their pitch off the plate, wide. 2-0. Bandy pays a visit to Bedrosian. Austin has an 11-6 lead over Texas. That game's in the top of the 9th. White Sox, bottom of the 7th in Chicago, lead the Yankees 5-0. Foul right back into the screen. 2-1. Houston Street up now in the bullpen for the Angels in case they need him. Two and two. Rays have been out hit by 1, but they trail by 5. On the bottom of the 9th.
The 3 errors do not help.
Well, they led to 3 unearned runs. A popper foul, and that is just into the dugout. Escobar running over Pujols there.
Pujols dove the wrong way. That ball going into the dugout, so you know Escobar is going to head over to the low wall, and Pujols goes left. Should have gone right. Although right is down the steps, so.
I think that's an illegal block.
It is. He went low on it.
Franklin out on strikes. Fastball at 96.
Yeah, that is a firm fastball. Cam Bedrosian, he stays compact in his delivery, and look how he drives this ball to the glove, above the belt, above the swing.
Well, Hank Conger got into this game when Casale left with a contusion. Casale 0 for 2 tonight, and Conger, who had a base hit in the 8th inning last night off Bedrosian, faces him in the 9th inning tonight. And hits it deep to right field. Calhoun back, and that ball is off the wall. Dickerson heads to third. Conger is going to be out trying to go to second. Conger thrown out at second base. Turns out to be a long single off the wall. And Andrelton Simmons put the tag on him. The throw from Calhoun.
Boy, that is a rocket shot hop. And there's Simmons with the tag. That ball high off the wall, and Calhoun, you see that tag firmly right there in the right leg. Oh, that's unfortunate.
So 2 outs suddenly. And here's Logan Forsythe. Strike 1 to Logan, who accounted for the first run for the Rays with a home run in the 6th. He did go, says Mike Estabrook. Strike 2.
Breaking ball down and away.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to go home.
Two strikes now on Forsythe. Upstairs. 1 and 2. Forsythe out on strikes, and that ends this game. No runs, a couple hits, and a man left for the Rays in the 9th, and it's a 7-2 final. 7-9-0 for the Angels, 6 left for the Rays, 2-9-3, 8 left. Weaver the winner, 7-7. Smiley the loser, now 2-10. 3 hours 18 minutes before 11,267. For Brian Anderson, Todd Callis, and the rest of our crew, Dwayne Stats, hope you've enjoyed the telecast. If not, the outcome. We'll be with you next from Boston Friday night. Our coverage begins at 6:30. Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers, is next.